Good morning. We are kicking off Paul's letter to the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, his first letter. So again, I would encourage you, if you haven't, to read chapter 1. I'd also encourage you to check out the Bible Project video that gives an overview for the book of 1 Corinthians, but I did link that on Salem's page. So Paul begins, like he does most of his letters, with a greeting to those in Corinthians, giving thanks, saying he's praying for them, asking, thanks for grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And then throughout this rest of chapter 1, he really deals with boasting and encouraging people not to boast in who they were baptized in, not to boast who their teacher is, but that following Christ is the main focus. And then deals with this section that talks about folly and what is important, and that the word of the cross, the gospel, in verse 18, is folly to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it's the power of God. So looking at the gospel, to those who are not believers or following the gospel, it is folly, it's foolish. And Paul is stressing that to those who it is the power to save. And then talks that, it's Christ is a stumbling block to Jews, it's folly to the Gentiles. God chose the foolish in the world to shame the wise, the weak in the world to shame the strong, what is low and despised to bring nothing to things that are, so that no human may boast in the presence of God. So God uses the foolish. God uses what seems to be folly for his kingdom. So it's really, things are totally different in God's eyes, in God's world, than what man. Man tends to put their trust in other people, in things that are seen, and Paul is stressing that the Christ is what is most important, even if it seems foolish. And he does that, and we see at the end of verse 31, let the one who boasts in the Lord. So God uses the foolish, God uses what doesn't make sense, so that we would trust more in God. So let's, I pray that, our tendency is to try to figure things out and try to make things as rational as possible. And I think sometimes God's saying, just, even if it doesn't make sense, we just have to believe. And that God uses the weak, God uses the foolish, God uses the low, that he doesn't do things on the same standards as the world. So we need to remember that as we go through this book, the focus on Jesus Christ. So have a good day. We'll be on here with the second chapter of 1 Corinthians tomorrow. God bless.